Okay, oh, here's the ones.
Could I go on record here as saying this is the reason we should have all meetings start at 6 o'clock? People are showing up for a topic that's already been had. This 5:30 meeting business is foolishness. All business needs to start at 6 o'clock.
Okay. So are these the updated?
Okay, so these are the ones that had problems?
These are the ones. Actually.
Okay.
Start.
These are the organizations that responded to my email asking for a letter
Okay.
memo. So all the ones that did respond, I printed them out and provided them to you. The ones that did not respond, there is nothing in
Okay.
Okay.
there.
Makes it hard to do our job.
I do think there might be someone in the room who didn't get a response because there was a leadership change, because I just heard some rumblings about needing to submit a paragraph. And I didn't get the communication about that, so I apologize. I did not receive that communication either.
Okay, well, we'll get started and we'll work our way through it. Calling this budget workshop to order. Manager Pierce, you got an overview for us?
Yeah, before we just try to get this as quick as possible, just my apologies again, I mentioned this last week. We tried to make a process change to make it easier. I think it made it a little harder with an online reverb. It's our document sharing piece to include it in the budget, but we didn't put a word count on it, so there was those folks that put a ton of information in the field, it like shrunk down to tiny size, so we didn't notice that until we started printing the budgets. So I apologize for that, and thank you, Ashley, and the groups for responding, and apologize again for that. We're going to try to clean that up for next year. That one's on me. I really apologize to the council for that, and we'll try to get that better going forward. First, I think we'll just send it over straight to the harbor budget, which we have first on our agenda on page 475. The Recreation Commission, the YMCA Music Institute, the Grand, and the Ellsworth Concert Band are on deck, but Harbor Commission's first. My manager adjust was pretty small here. As much as it pained me, and I gotta be staring Mark in the face again on this again to say no to the full-time harbor master and to keep with the current kind of part-time maintenance of the facilities with Roddy, our Parks and Rec director, is hanging on to the harbor master hat for a second season. I know it's kind of how the city's been running that for a while. I really wanted to say yes this year, but I kind of had to say no to just about everything new. And this one pained me even more because with the changing from the part-time to the full-time, it's only about a $20,000, $25,000 savings that is actualized with saying no to the full-time harbor master. But, I felt I had to be fair and equitable across the board on saying no to the new requests. So, I apologize. I think it's needed. It's at the top of my list. The Harbor Commission is incredible with the amount of things they do. They also bring in a fair amount of revenue, which makes it even harder to say no to that request. And it's such a key asset. I know we did a lot of upgrades last year with paving the harbor parking lot, and we've got a lot of it in our capital improvement plan. We've got a lot of other things that need to be done better in the harbor to be considered for the capital, but that was really the only manager adjust on this budget.
The Harbor Commission and the harbor budget, same thing? Is that what we're looking at here? Just wondering.
Yep, and
Okay.
in coordination with Roddy Bark, our Parks and Rec director.
Any further questions from council on the harbor budget?
Yes, excuse me, I'm not clear where the difference is between the department request and the manager adjustment.
I pulled the payroll full-time and then brought up the,
So if you can show us within in the details, just so I can track. Okay, so it's the first line.
Yeah.
the department request, the 155, and then it got it to 123.
Okay, so page
so is it-
478, the top item on the expense line.
Yeah, so you'll see the department request is 50,000 in the payroll full-time.
Yep,
And then I actually adjust that brought their request for part-time down, and I basically said no to the full-time at the 50,000, and then brought the part-time back up by about 12,000 to account for kind of the previous, or the current arrangement of paying for a couple part-time people to manage the facility. So that's why we don't go down by a full 50,000 with denying the
Right.
full-time request, because we still have to have two part-timers down there.
Okay. This is gonna be hard.
Any other questions on the harbor budget? Recreation Commission, Charlie?
Yep, let's go to page 467. Maybe we could start with the YMCA and Matt, I know you, I believe your larger memo is on their first printouts here.
457?
467.
460.
Well, actually,
Or
if you-
469 is where there's actual numbers.
yeah, and 470 is the detailed page, but everything for this next section, the YMCA, the Music Institute, the Grand, and the Ellsworth Concert Band are all in this Recreation Commission budget.
Great. Matt?
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you all. My name is Matt Montgomery. I'm CEO of the Down East Family Y. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about the Y and our request tonight. And again, thank you for your continued partnership in strengthening the Ellsworth community. So the Y has proudly served Ellsworth since 1961 in Ellsworth. Every day we work to support youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility, ensuring everyone in our community has access to our facility and programs regardless of their ability to pay. Tonight, we're requesting $75,000 in funding for fiscal year 2027 to support three critical areas: access, youth recreation, and childcare. First, access and membership scholarships. In 2025 alone, we provided over $50,000 in scholarships to more than 350 Ellsworth residents, or households rather. That includes free memberships for every sixth grader, free access to our police and fire personnel, and open community hours on weekends and during the week, where hundreds of residents have access to our facility at no cost throughout the year. We also serve as a resource during emergencies, offering showers and charging stations during power outages. Secondly, youth sports and recreation. We provided over $10,000 worth of scholarships to more than 600 local youth, ensuring kids can participate in soccer, basketball, swim team, and more, regardless of financial barriers. Every second grader in Ellsworth gets a free session of swim lessons, and we proudly provide free access to the pool for the Ellsworth High School swim team. And third, and probably most critically, childcare and summer camp. We provided in 2025 over $70,000 worth of scholarships just to Ellsworth households for access to childcare and summer camp. We're one of the largest childcare providers in Ellsworth. We're one of the very few that provides care for infant through after school that also takes state subsidy families. And we partner closely with the school department to support working families year-round. What makes Y unique is that we are more than a facility. We're really a safety net for the community, a partner, and a community hub. When families need support and kids need a place to grow, where residents need access to health and wellness, we're there. So really like you to consider supporting the YMCA as you have over the last several decades. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions from Matt? Nancy?
Thank you. I think I'm going to ask questions pretty consistently as we go through based on conversations around this outside organizations, and they're meant to give an opportunity to have a conversation.
Absolutely.
So the first one is, are you serving Ellsworth residents with the funding you're asking from the city of Ellsworth? And how do you see this as a contribution that should come from taxpayers? What's the justification for that? And I think within that, if you were here, you may not have been, the earlier conversation about what's fair isn't always equal. And why is it that there are subsidies for the kinds of offerings that the Y has? That may be coming out of left field if you weren't here earlier when we were
Yeah, it
talking
wasn't-
about housing.
Okay, gotcha.
So,
So first I can answer that. Our community or town support that we go to every town in Hancock County, that does not include Mount Desert Island, which has its own Y. And we have our service area includes all of Hancock County except for Mount Desert Island. So the ask per community, a lot of that is based on the amount of support that we provided to residents specifically of that community from the previous year. So in Ellsworth's case, well over $100,000 in scholarship just for those households, over 800 residents that were non-members and non-program participants that had access to our facility during our free community times on weekends and during our walking program during the week. So, yeah, this money is used directly for those residents. And really is a primary driver for us to be able to offer scholarships. We generate revenue through program and through membership. That essentially covers our occupancy costs and our staffing costs. So anything above that is through contributed dollars. And that's through annual campaigns, through grants, and through town support.
and there was I didn't ask the question, but you answered another one that comes up.
Okay.
I think this is my third budget round here. Is you do ask from other towns as well?
We ask for it from every town in Hancock County except those
Right,
on
except
Mount Desert
MDI.
Island. Yeah.
And how do you do with those asks?
We're batting about 95%. That's not really that, I got my batting, we're batting really well. I'm a swing coach, I'm not a baseball guy, so I'm not really good with those stats.
I was going with percentages, so you're
yeah,
at
so,
95%, okay.
There is currently one town that has not supported the Y.
Okay. All right, thank you, appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Matt? Great.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll just note on, the request is 75, although for these ones, I do get to punt a little bit. We have a subcommittee that's formed by staff that have done this last 2 years now. And I think, Myrna, were you on that subcommittee as well? So they reviewed all of them. Most of them are flat funded, and I agreed with all the subcommittee's recommendations here. But this one was an adjust down to last year's funding level of 70,000. So, and not to further complicate this, I think for next year, I want to look into bringing a lot of these ones into the external organizations section. There is a memo from the subcommittee on kind of the request in the external organizations, and it includes these 4 or 5. But one of the reasons we didn't is because traditionally these have been in the Recreation Commission's kind of orbit. And I know as Roddy, our Parks and Rec director, is establishing this whole Parks and Rec section, which is a consolidation of a bunch of areas. I think as we kind of get to more of a steady state with the organization, next year it'll be easier to have all of these in just an external organization, separate commission section too. But for now, we're going to have to kind of switch back and forth. So with that, we have the Ellsworth Music Institute. Anything here today? Nope. I can voice over the request here was for 10,000 up from 5,000 the previous year.
Can you give us pages as we go, if there are?
Same page, 470. It's Ellsworth Music Institute is.
Okay,
the
so
second
no
one
more
down.
details?
Yeah, for the next four in the section. This and the next 2 are all on page 470. It was, a request was up to 10,000 from 5,000 the year before. And we, considering all the no's and trying to have a maintenance level budget to the extent it's possible, this was to maintain at the $5,000 level. We also note they have a new executive director who I've had the fortunate opportunity to meet. I believe he was the conductor of the Broadway musical Hamilton
Yeah.
for quite a long time. And what a get for Ellsworth. There's a great television segment on him recently, and there's on our Ellsworth Medium page or blog post page, they did an article on just how big of a gift this is for us, and they do great work over there. It's the bringing back down to 5 from 10,000 is not a reflection on just the incredible work they do over there, but this just isn't the year for it. With that, do we have the grand here today?
Hey, good evening. I'm Mark Remick, and I'm the president of the board at the Grand, one of my hats. And I have a staff that allowed me to, or printed out for me, this dissertation, so hang on. And as president of that board, I'm joined by Peter, who just, oh, there you go, I thought you ran away. Who's not only a board member, but he's also the treasurer. So when it comes down to the specific questions about numbers, we got it covered. So what we're asking for is 35 grand, which is 5 more than our previous ask. And a lot of that has to do with the cost of doing business. But it's important that we kind of keep in perspective what the Grand represents to Ellsworth. It's a performing arts center, which is the PAC program. This program brings students in from the Ellsworth schools to experience the art, many of them for the first time. In fact, about 70% of these students attend their first live performance thanks to your support. Busloads of children are able to access enriching cultural experiences they may not ever experience. We also offer vacation week movies. It's $1 a person for vacation week. During every school vacation, this program benefits not only the children, but the entire family, bringing affordable entertainment access to residents and taxpayers. We have a summer concert series. These concerts showcase the vibrancy of Ellsworth, creating a welcoming atmosphere for both residents and visitors. They also help drive local traffic to businesses, which supports our local economy. The outdoor summer movies at Knowlton Park is something special about gathering outdoors for a movie. And for those my age and close, you might recall going to a drive-in movie. Windows are open, the speakers are hanging out the side window, which is obviously deeply enjoyed by the community. We have a winter concert series, which we launched this year. We're expecting to introduce 4 free concerts during the winter months from January through April, held once a month on Sundays. And these events give families a reason to come out together and stay engaged during the quieter season. In addition, the Grand is partnering this year with the Chamber of Commerce and another local business in coordinating promotions and expanding the market efforts. We aim to increase foot traffic and strengthen the economic impact of our events throughout the community. We know you recognize the important role the Grand plays in the Ellsworth cultural and economic vitality, and with your continued support, we expanded these efforts to reach even more people. We respectfully ask that you approve our funding request at the $35,000 level and continue to invest in the arts for our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions?
Questions for Mr. Remick, Council? Charlie?
I should also want to, just to give my manager's recommendation here, based on the subcommittee. This is one of the few that the subcommittee reviewed and saw an increase from 30,000 to 35,000. That was last year, and they're kind of split into each individual one this year, but the total request for last year was 30,000. This year it's 35,000. But the subcommittee and myself felt that this was a reasonable request and supports funding at the $35,000 level this year. So I think this was one of the very few that the team felt was there. So sorry about the harbor.
So that's broken down to the individual asks in this, on page 470. So I see the Grand, Performing Arts, Vacation Movies, Summer Concert, okay.
Correct. And the totality of that request is 35,000. The totality of that request last year was 30,000.
Thank you very much.
Do we have anybody from the Ellsworth Concert Band here? Seeing no, the the request for the Ellsworth, the concert band. I'm trying to find. Which one is this? Yep, 1,400. The request is 1,400, and the subcommittee and the manager recommendation are at 1,400 as well, which I believe was last year.
Right.
Yep, which is the same as the previous year. So concert band is 10, 510, 460.
Is there any information about the concert band in here, Charlie?
Do you remember, Ashley, on this one?
I just don't quite know what is the concert band part of, it's not part of the school, it's a separate organization.
Remember it from prior years.
Pat,
it's
do you know what
adults.
they are?
I've got a number of friends, and a lot of them, some I graduated with, some are a lot younger than me. But it's a group of citizens that perform, they have a band, and they perform. And they either do it, they used to do it down here on the City Hall steps. They've done it down to the gazebo, and I believe,
Their application is on page 335.
yeah,
Their organizational description, it says the purpose of the band is to perform various types of music.
Yep.
The Ellsworth Concert Band has been performing for decades. We are made up of performers ranging from students to retirees, as well as visitors. The band first started performing at City Hall and now is at the waterfront. Memberships vary, but average 30 to 40 members of concert.
mhm.
We're asking for
We
14.
seem to be missing 335.
335 in the book is the Section 5 external
I
organizations.
don't have a 335, but you read it well, so.
We don't have it.
No, that's
All right,
Section
that's
5
what
external
Section 5
organizations.
external organizations.
Oh, I'm sorry, 375.
That would be a whole different
I'm sorry.
page.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
okay.
One of many times we're gonna be tripping over numbers.
I have a observation here in the, I feel like we're either $5,000 or $10,000 over in the grant.
I'm doing the same thing. It's yeah, this is 10,000. The line items on 470 are $10,000 more than the number we're talking about, so we can save 10 grand right there without. Yeah, I
You've
had
got,
Carol
you've got
check
the
my
grand,
math.
yeah, I know. You got the
blind
grand
leading the
general
blind.
programming, and then the grand programming, which is definitely a double, I think.
Yeah,
And then it looks like the vacation movies are at 6 when they should be 5, and the outdoor program is at 5 when it should be 6. So some cleanup in
yeah.
the grant.
But the discussion mentioned a $35,000 request,
Right.
so.
And the outline that they provided is 35,000.
Yeah.
I'm reconciling the handout we got with the line items, and
Yeah.
it's over. So
Saying
it
the
should,
line
it
item.
should be a quick fix that,
All right, well,
Yeah.
Ashley will note that, and
Yeah.
we'll put that in the log and at the end of the rounds here.
I will not email you about it, I will know it's in the log.
It's
and
in the
we'll be
log,
good to
as
go.
you know. I loved the emails last time, but Ashley is taking the logs. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
that.
Good catch, everyone, on that. And thank you, yeah, and I found that, Ashley, thank you for that description. Counselors, anything further on the Ellsworth Concert Band?
Just that my dog loves them.
Okay. Dog,
He does little ahs down at the harbor while they're playing.
dog
He's
approved.
singing along, is what you're saying.
Great. I think with that, are we on to the Arbor Commission, Charlie?
Yep, 487, the Arbor Commission, I believe we have,
487?
yes, 487, well, it's probably actually gonna be on
489.
That's where it starts. For 489 is the detail, or the summary page, and then 490
Yeah,
details,
Oh, it's in here.
and then the descriptions are on 492.
you're getting there, you're getting there.
And
Where'd it go? Whoops.
we'll check it out.
490, what page are you on? 490.
490 through 492 is the Arbor Commission's section.
There we go. We're getting there. Yep. 45. Yep.
And this one was pretty easy. This was a request of 7,500, and it's the same as last year, and approval at 7,500. But I don't know if
Casey, do you want to say anything? It's our turn.
It's our turn. I do.
Hi, everybody. Casey Hansen. I'm the chair of the Arbor Commission, and I was previously a city councilor, so I appreciate all the hard work you are currently putting in for the city staff and the city councilors. So Arbor Commission is a city council-appointed commission, and our mission is to advance and safeguard public health, safety, and general welfare through the promotion and regulation, installation of, and maintenance of trees, shrubs, and other public plantings on City of Ellsworth property. We were initially formed in 1991, but actually really became a commission just a couple of years ago, I think in 23, right? We are requesting $7,500, which is not a change from last year. That's about the same. I think you guys have this one-page handout that we sent, yeah?
Yep.
So we're saying approximately 3,000 of that goes to educational programs. That's probably what we mainly use our money for. So once a year, we bring the second graders out to the tree nursery to plant trees. We've also done some educational programming for citizens about pests like the emerald ash borer and things like that, education for citizens, pruning workshops, things like that to help people take care of their own trees also. And then 2,500 we're saying is going towards the development of a tree trust, which we've worked on in the past year and will continue to finalize this year. And that will be a trust for the city so that citizens can donate to it, but will also administer a memorial tree planting program because often people request for the city to plant a memorial tree, and so we're gonna manage that. About $1,000 for office and administrative costs, a lot of which is grant applications and some communications with citizens. And $1,000 for maintenance of the tree nursery. In the last year, we developed an irrigation system for the trees out in the tree nursery, which I think you probably all know is at the Jordan Homestead property. That's Frenchman Bay's property, but they've allowed the city to have our tree nursery out there. And we're also collaborating with the high school with HCTC, and they're building us a tool shed this spring, so we can put a bunch of tiny shovels in there for the second graders to plant trees next in May. Although we are requesting $7,500, which again is not a change from last year, we have actually brought a lot of money into the city. The members of the Arbor Commission, I am the least educated and helpful person on the Arbor Commission, but the Arbor Commission is filled with citizens who are foresters and arborists and have quite a bit of knowledge and grant writers. So we've brought in $173,000 in an urban and community forestry grant for a 3-year planting project, $20,000 per year in 2024 and 2025 for Project Canopy Grant, which is for the community tree nursery and the Branch Lake Public Forest Forestry Management Plan. We've had a full-time community tree steward that's been at no cost to the city. We are last summer and this summer, gonna have an intern to work at the Branch Lake Public Forest. We also have more than 400 trees being grown in the community tree nursery and adding an additional 80 this spring, which end up being planted out on city streets, no cost to the city. We are a Tree City USA. And then there are, of course, the whole point of the Arbor Commission is to support our urban canopy and trees and shrubs, and there's all kind of financial benefits to the city for having a tree canopy. It increases property values, reduces energy costs, help manage stormwater, reduces public health costs by filtering air pollutants, and improves infrastructure longevity. And then, as I said before, the volunteers who are on the Arbor Commission spend countless hours working on forestry management plans, working on grant writing, working on all the follow-up that that entails. And we really appreciate working with Roddy and with Danielle. We have a great partnership with them, so that's been really exciting to be able to work with them on these projects. That is it.
Okay. Oh, Casey. Does anyone have any questions for Casey or Councilor Smith?
Nice to see you in this room again.
Thank you.
I just want to make a point of clarification, that you have the thing, a note here about administering the memorial tree planting program. And this council has had probably 2 meetings where we've had conversations about the need to develop a policy for memorial trees, and that would be coming to the council for the decisions on when memorial trees would be appropriate and such. So I want to give you an opportunity to clarify that you're talking about managing the growth of the trees and the actual installation, not the decisions about
Right,
which would happen.
the growth and care of the trees, but also the financial. So if someone that you love died and you wanted to plant a memorial tree, we would say that usually is a whatever, $250 donation, something like that.
Okay.
And so this tree trust would manage those funds.
Right. So the Arbor Commission is going to be the administration, not the decision maker.
The tree trust actually
So-
is a whole separate group of people who would be elected to that, not
Okay.
necessarily the Arbor Commission itself.
All right.
So it's gonna be, in theory, it ends up being this freestanding thing. There's been money where in the, it's not in the general fund, but there's money in the city that is
In the recreation budget.
in the recreation budget, yeah.
So Charlie, I'll just look to you. You know the point I'm trying to make about there's the management of the trees and the funds for it. But we've talked about, there's a moratorium on memorial trees currently.
Okay.
And with coming up with a policy. So that is not creating a conflict with this for those who might be listening and think that there's a conflict coming, just a point to clarify. This is
No,
how
and-
to tend the trees.
No, we're money in mulch, right?
Yeah, and I think our policy would be the general tree selection, placement,
Right.
and everything there, but not the actual memorial
Correct.
itself. We're not gonna be touching the policy of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted that out in this conversation for people to hear.
Any other questions for Casey on the Arbor Commission? Seeing none. Thank you, Casey.
Thanks.
Just have like a process note, I could see in a future cycle, Ashley, maybe if you could note that we try to figure out a way to pull in the revenues into their, that budget itself, just to kind of show that coming in. You know, we probably won't make it to this cycle, but next cycle, I think that would be good.
Hey, Patrick, can I make a quick comment for the Recreation Commission?
Yeah, please
Should-
come approach.
Yeah, sure, sorry.
Eric Marshall, Chair of the Recreation Commission. I'm actually here for another organization, but I just wanted to have a quick comment. The previous 2 years to this, I stood up here and made the pitch to create the recreation position or department in the city, which was recommended to the commission, and so I don't have to do that this year. So I just wanted to thank everyone that was previously on the council, currently on the council, that voted for that. And I think it's important for taxpayers that are watching to know that sometimes we do make investments, and it's a hard decision for the council. I'm sure last year to create a new position, it's always gonna be a little bit controversial. Just from my perspective of being on the commission for 5 years, it's been night and day just having Roddy in that position as far as operationally how it's working, finding ways to save money. We had someone that came in last meeting from Acadia Fire talking about the DeMeyer Fields, and Roddy's like, he had some, concerns for this year, and Roddy's like, that's all been done, we already figured all that out. So I think it's been great. The, Knowlton Park's plow this winter, the Sunrise Trail. And, so I just want to thank everyone and kind of, again, let you hear that, making these investments, I think, in the community are worth it. So, thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
Great. We'll go to Historic Preservation next, and yeah, big thanks to the Recreation Commission who was doing that work, and then kind of had to have me as the liaison for a little while, so Roddy's doing an awesome job now. Such a great organization. This one should be pretty easy, 493, is the page. It's actually really, the detail page is 495. 496 is where you'll see expenses. There wasn't a request this year from the historic preservation, right?
I did not, we did not ask for money this year because I knew there wasn't any, number one. And number two, because we are in the midst of rebuilding and reorganizing, and there were no projects in the pipeline.
Yep.
So that's why I didn't get a budget request.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Counselor.
I tried to do my part.
This was the easiest, yes.
Historical preservation, put the historical preservation funds into the concert band for my dog.
Like him.
I don't, he's a felon.
And then we'll go to historic society budget. Do you have anybody from the historic society here?
Maybe they don't want any money.
They did provide a letter from them, so it is in the packet.
So this one was a request for 5,000, I believe, yeah, 5,000, and there was an adjust from the subcommittee, which I agreed to, back to 3,500 to level fund from the previous year.
Any questions from council for Charlie or each other on the historical society?
Okay.
Let's go, keep moving.
And we'll keep moving along. We're gonna go to, now switching kind of chapters, we're gonna go to the external organizations presentation, page 335. Again, I think next year I'm gonna try to keep these all together and get the memos and everything a little more organized. But we're gonna start with the Next Step Domestic Violence Program. Do we have anybody from Next Step Domestic Violence?
335 is what we're going for.
340 has the breakdown on the budget.
Anybody from Next Step Domestic Violence Program here? This was a request at 12,900. That is over last year's $6,000 request, and this is again one of the few that the subcommittee recommended to fund at the $12,900 level. I don't know if Marina or Ashley have any comment on the reason for keeping that request for the 12,900.
So I was on the subcommittee along with Carrie Taylor, our HR director, and Tina, who does our social services, and Marina, and Olivia from the PD. Olivia and Tina both advocated very highly for Next Step, especially Olivia from the PD. She says they utilize this program a lot in Ellsworth, and she would be lost without it. They do amazing work. They offer different things to help people in bad situations, get out of them. They coach people. It's beyond just getting somebody out of a bad situation. And she says they utilize it quite a bit from the PD.
Councilor Smith?
I just want to, I think, add to that. When I was reviewing the documents prior to this meeting, I was really struck by exactly the point you made, that the police department uses their services immensely. So when we're looking at the value and is this worthy of tax dollars going towards it, I can't, there are a lot of things that are important here, but the fact that our police department is able to partner with a nonprofit to help people, Ellsworth residents who are in crisis, is incredibly important. So I just want to echo what you had said, that that partnership between the police department and nonprofits seems to be incredibly important.
Anything further from council? Thank you. Thank you, Ashley.
And then next, we will go to the WIC program. Do we have somebody from the WIC program here? There we go.
I'm Tani Jacobs Desjardins. I'm the WIC Program Director for Hancock and Washington County. Last year, we served 220 Ellsworth residents. We always ask for $50 per participant per year from every municipality in Hancock and Washington County. So that came out to an $11,000 request. In addition to the food package, which is currently saving pregnant participants about $136 a month on healthy groceries, a child about $96 a month, and a fully formula-fed infant anywhere from $220 to about $440 a month if they're on a medical-based formula. In addition to those food packages, we have a fleet of 22 hospital-grade breast pumps to loan people for as long as they need. Those are valued at about $900 each, plus all the attachments. People love to say that breastfeeding's free. It's not. So if anyone is breastfed, they know that. So people don't know about that part of our program. We also offer a maternal mental health partnership. If anyone's tried to access mental health services, sometimes there can be a pretty long wait list, and our partner trusts that the WIC counselors are only referring the people that really need it, so they are able to get them in like immediately. Like they leave and their phone's already ringing with a therapist that's specializing in maternal mental health, so we feel that that is a really strong thing to highlight as well. We usually use the municipal funding to offset our federal funding, which is not enough to just cover our general expenses. And yeah, we serve about 50% of infants born in the United States, so it's a very needed program. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, can you save me from doing the math, because I've already done math tonight? No, I think you can do this without math. You had made a request for 11,000,
Yes,
and you asked for $50 per participant. So is that 220?
Yes.
Ellsworth residents?
yes.
Oh, I did the math right, okay.
Cool.
So seriously. So it's 220 Ellsworth residents benefited.
Yes.
Wow, okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, surprised at them.
For the WIC program representative?
I would note that this was level funded the prior year, I believe's funding, so that is where it currently stands, but
Okay, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
great. We will go to Friends in Action next. Is Friends in Action here? I have Friends in Action here. The request is for 10,000, which the subcommittee has noted is to be 10,000 as well. They previously requested in prior budgets 10,000, but I noticed last year
Yeah,
they didn't.
This is the Friends in Action where they, Tammy and Michelle kind of let us know last year, former council members, that they always get $10,000 from the city of Ellsworth for operating funds, to basically operate, and that was kind of an established, not contract, but established payment that they received, the funds, Friends in Action do.
And maybe I'll give a little, Friends in Action is a program for our senior citizens run out of the Moore Center. We had a lot of discussion with council on the great work they did in the last city council when we were doing the Moore Center lease renegotiations and, providing incredible service for our senior communities here in Ellsworth. And I believe they have a new executive director as well.
Any further questions from council on that? Okay, thank you, Charlie.
Sure. We will go to Loaves and Fishes next. I believe that I saw it.
I'm Georgianne Sneed. I am a board member at Rose and Fishes. And first of all, I want to thank you for your past support, which has been invaluable in helping us meet our mission. We are located right here in Ellsworth. Our beautiful food pantry marketplace is on Down East Highway. We do serve all of Hancock County. But in 2025, 1,668 members of 726 Ellsworth households made about 7,000 shopping trips to our pantry. That accounts for more than a third of our total population. So our direct outlay for food for these neighbors was $124,248. The funding we ask you for goes completely for food. This year, we are asking for an increase. $7,000 is for food for our pantry marketplace. We are experiencing not only increased demands, but obviously increased food costs. We also have added $2,000 to our request this year because in 2025, we took the program Everybody Eats under our umbrella. Everybody Eats was previously under Down East Community Partners, and when they ceased operations, we took them into our program. They provide between 150 and 200 hot meals at St. Dunstan's on a weekly basis for free, which supports primarily Ellsworth residents through that program and meets the need of people who are not only food insecure, but perhaps also housing insecure. So the increases are for that additional program as well. So obviously, I think everybody in this room knows our need is only growing, sadly, and will continue to, and we couldn't do this work without good partners like you, so we appreciate your considering the request, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you. Any questions from council? Rose and Fishes? Sneed? Well, just to clarify, so your estimate is that a third of Ellsworth residents have used your services?
So we have a computer system where we check in for the pantry, the visitors who shop, and so we do track their addresses. So yes, so of the visits, we know for a fact from our computer records that there were 5,193 total individuals who shopped there last year. And we track, 1,668 residents from 726 households. So
Okay.
it's a third of our total.
Third of your total, who you're serving?
Correct, yes.
But how many residents and households in Ellsworth, did you say?
726 households with 1,668 residents. And they shopped, we are open 3 days a week, and each shopper is allowed to visit one time per week. So the Ellsworth households made 7,000 shopping trips to the pantry in 2025. That does not include Everybody Eats, which fed 7,000 people who are primarily in Ellsworth.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Recommendation.
Yep, and we were in favor of the 9,000 due to our general assistance, Tina, was sending a lot of her clients there during the SNAP benefit freeze. So we were in favor of that $9,000 this year.
Any further questions from council? Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So next up is Families First Community Center. Do we have somebody from Families First Community Center here? See none. Ashley, do you have a recommendation from the subcommittee? I see that was their recommendation was from 3,000 from the previous year to 8,000 this year. The subcommittee.
So if I remember correctly, I didn't bring my notes, I totally forgot, so it's not about. Marina, I don't know if you remember, were they taking over their DCP?
I want to say so.
I think they're taking over.
Oh,
for
Down East
DCP.
Community
Yes.
I think that they're taking over a large chunk of that. I can confirm and follow up in the change log.
But I do think you're right.
If they are
Yes.
or not, I'll definitely confirm. but that would be why that Families First Community Center is taken over for DCP since they've closed. And, again, Tina utilizes them quite a bit. Which one?
Our organization, Community Action University Washington.
Okay, so
That's
you guys
what-
took over for DCP. Okay, so no, that is wrong.
I was about to
Thank
say,
you.
that might have been,
I couldn't remember with
Let's-
either one of those two.
why don't we'll put a pin in that one, that's a larger
Yeah,
increase.
she was supposed to join the meeting tonight. We sent her the link remotely and she's not on.
Well, before we dial that one in, we'll try to get more information for council on why the increase for the request is approved. So next up, we have Home Inc. Somebody from Home Inc. here? Okay, it's the same request as the previous year, and the subcommittee also noted to level fund that at their request as the previous year. And then we have Woodlawn. Do we have Woodlawn here? Great.
Hi, I'm Megan Doherty. This is the end of my, I guess this is 6 months I've been the director of Woodlawn. So the request that we submitted was for things that are year-round, so things we're doing that serve our local committee, our local community. One is the Science Saturday program. That's an outdoor educational event that we have once a month, except December. So there's 11. And these are organized by Kelly Lunt, our education director, and she brings in folks from Maine master naturalists as well as experts, and our district forester has done some, and so helping community members to both be active on our trails while learning about the environment around them, and with often things they can take with them. So this April, it's in conjunction with Maine Big Night, so really thinking about the emergence of our amphibians and what we can do in our own backyards to support them. So that was one portion, and the other was $2,000 to support our maintenance of our trails and skating pond. There were so many kids this winter who came and skated on the pond. Kevin works really hard to make sure it's shoveled and that he's really closely monitors the thickness of the ice and making sure that it's safe for our community, as well as the sledding hill and the overall maintenance and care for the 2 miles of trails that are open 365 days a year. And having lived in the cottage all winter, I can tell you there's plenty of people who come every single day to walk at exactly the same time every day. I see them pull up as I'm sitting having breakfast. And so, I feel like our trails are a real resource for the community. And so we're requesting support for our educational programming and our trails and skating pond.
Great. Any questions for the Woodlawn? I'll just say thank you. My family's one of the families that uses the hill and the pond and the trails in the winter, and it's really fantastic that we have that. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, it was a great year for it this year.
It certainly was.
And I remember last year I was bringing my bonus grandson there a couple of times and heard Woodlawn has been allowing families to go sledding on the hill for over 100 years.
Yeah.
What an amazing Ellsworth tradition. And kids just need a place to go sledding. It's a really good hill.
Yeah.
So that's great.
We're glad to have everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now to Community Action in Aroostook County, which is the actual organization that took over a lot of the Downey's Community Partners. And I'll note we've had an incredible conversation about a wide range of topics and the work that they jumped in here. I know it's like, why is Aroostook County in this piece? And I know you'll probably talk a little more about that, but there's a very good reason, and we're very lucky to have your organization step in here.
Thank you, Charlie. It was great to visit with you a couple of months ago, and it's great to be with all of you this evening. City councilors, my name is Jason Parent, and for the last 10 years, I've had the pleasure of serving as the CEO of Aroostook County Action Program. And since the beginning of July, I've had the privilege of serving as the CEO for Community Action in Aroostook, Washington, and Hancock counties, as our agency was asked both by the Board of Directors and by various state funding sources and federal funding sources to ensure that the programs and services of community action in this county and in this community, your community action agency, continue. And I'm very pleased to report to you this evening that we have not missed any of our services, and we certainly are very grateful to community partners like Fishes and Loaves and Ride Source and others who have taken over programs and services prior to our transition with Down East Community Partners. As I indicated, and as you are well aware, Down East Community Partners actually is in the process of dissolution as an organization. They are in receivership at this time, and they are actually liquidating all of the properties and assets that belong to Down East Community Partners. It was because of the extensive liabilities that Down East Community Partners held and their inability to have fiscal audits completed for the last 3 years that this is not a merger between two community action agencies serving 3 counties. We did literally work with every funding source from the Federal Office of Head Start to the Department of Health and Human Services and Maine Housing and others to effectively end contracts with Down East Community Partners and initiate them with the company that is still known, or the nonprofit organization that is still known today as a Aroostook County Action Program. And those transitions happened between July 1st and October 15th, when the last of the services, which was the aging services, most notably Friendship Cottage on the Blue Hill Peninsula, that provides adult day services to the local community. When that transitioned over, all of the programs and services remaining were transitioned over to our agency. We are currently in the process of rebranding our agency and working with a firm to do that, to have a name that's more reflective. We are currently operating as Community Action in Aroostook, Washington, and Hancock counties. And in so doing, our leadership team is splitting our time between the 3 counties, or across the 3 counties, I should say. I spend about 50% of my time working out of our Ellsworth office here on Avery Lane. That facility was not a DCP-owned property. It belongs to the federal government, to the Federal Office of Head Start, and so it transitioned to us as the service providers. We're currently in the process of hopefully purchasing the Friendship Cottage facility in Blue Hill to allow those services to continue, because that facility is literally being sold out from underneath us. We have consolidated all operations of community action in this community in Hancock County out of the facility, aside from Friendship Cottage, out of the facility on Avery Lane here in Ellsworth. And we are enjoying operating here in this community tremendously. We have a great partnership with the city, most notably with the General Assistance Office and the work of Tina Van Destine and her team that is very fruitful and mutually beneficial to both the city and our organization, we believe. In the materials that we have provided, in the additional materials that I've circulated this evening, we provide a service report for each of our communities. In that service report, I need to sort of preface that by saying that the service report of the year of service, the most recent completed fiscal year of service, 3/4 of that year was Down East Community Partners data, 1/4 of that year was Aroostook County Action Program or Community Action in Aroostook, Washington, and Hancock County data. The data from Down East Community Partners was not as reliable as we had hoped, and then knowing that we had transitioned some programs over, we discounted any of that data. So transportation data is not included, as well as data from other programs and services that may have transitioned over. So if anything, this is underrepresented in terms of the number of units of service that we provided to the citizens of Ellsworth last year. Most notably, we provided 355 documentable services to the residents of Ellsworth, and a total investment for that in revenue was about $613, $614, $14,000, if you will. Those services were primarily provided in the areas of early care and education. We have our largest early care and education center in the 2 Down East counties, located here in Ellsworth. In addition to that, we're our most prolific service that we offer to more communities than any other, our Warm and Safe Home program, so namely the Home Energy Assistance Program by the federal government, that we are the providers for that service, and of course the aging services, which I've already spoken about. We also provide weatherization and home repairs and improvements for seniors that qualify for those programs, as well as help replace and repair heating systems for vulnerable households in your community. Our funding formula, or our request, is based upon a simple formula that our board of directors have instituted in Aroostook County for a number of years, and we've brought that forward to these counties. It does represent a substantially lower increase, or a substantial decrease, I should say, to what Down East Community Partners had been their formula. They used a formula based on prior year of service. We use a formula based on a per capita allocation based on the last decennial census. So we allocate based on the 2020 census so that we can express to communities like you that we will request this as the funding level for 10 years. It won't change until 2030, until the next decennial census, and our board does a review of that. We asked 40 cents per capita, and so for Ellsworth through 2030, that amount would be $3,366.80, which the town manager has rounded up to $3,367 as our request for the agency. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions, as I very well understand that there's a lot that has transpired with your community action agency serving this community and the counties. So rather than share a great amount of detail that we have worked through to ensure that these programs and services are here for your most vulnerable residents, I'm happy to take any specific questions you might have. And Councillor Smith, it's nice to see you outside of the box for meetings that we're usually in person.
Appreciate that.
Great, thank you. Councilors, any questions? No. You covered a lot of ground in a short amount of time.
Thank
and,
you.
but thank you. And Charlie, anything else on that?
No, just, again, a big thanks for stepping in a tough situation to help the people of this community when, a lot of the, especially in Washington County as well. I think that's kind of the state of a lot of our social services agencies, and we're very lucky that, as you can see with all this documentation, I learned a lot about communication and organization from our conversation too. This is a very organized, well-run group, and I'd like to see numbers like that, 3,367, based on data and those pieces. It's a great organization.
I can share with you, Councillor, as I shared with the city manager when I visited with him, our interest certainly is in partnering more with the local school department here. Our early care and education program across the 3 counties substantially partners with public schools in combined public school pre-K partnership programs, where we're able to bring the resources of Head Start to bear in partnership with the public schools and share staff and do things of that nature. And here in Ellsworth, with your growing population, we certainly have space to allocate in our early care and education center on Avery Lane, and our hopes are in hopes to have further conversations with the Ellsworth School Department about the opportunity to share resources.
Great, thank you very much.
All right, great. Next, we have Down East Transportation, and also I did note a little something, Ashley, for the change log is we've got some errors in the formulas. There's over 1,400 formulas, Excel formulas in this budget to track things over, and I think when we pulled these into one external organizations piece, we didn't pull over some of the prior year actuals, and it's, it says things like Chamber of Commerce, 0 for prior year budgets and year-to-dates, and same thing with Heart Ellsworth. I know that we've previously funded those organizations, so just wanted to note to council that, sorry, that's not in there. We'll work behind the scenes before, obviously, finalization to make sure that those numbers are tracking in and get those numbers in there. New GL numbers, okay. So we can't just even put a placeholder in there without.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we'll figure.
That's why they're not numbers, because they're still in there right now.
Okay, but we can also voice over the difference between prior year requests, so. So we have Down East Transportation. Is anybody here from Down East Transportation? That's right, this is the charge from every town we moves forward on, okay?
Can you, sorry, what was that?
This is the Down East Explorer, and
Down East
actually
Explorer.
Sarah knows a lot. Yeah, why don't, Sarah knows a lot about this one. She was, Sarah prior to us stealing was the executive director of the BACS, the Bangor Area Comprehensive Transit System, and knows a lot about this.
Yes, and I'm a board member of Down East Transportation, so this is just a standing request that they've had with the city. A couple years ago, actually, it didn't go through external organizations, so we kind of got a bill at the last minute, and it wasn't budgeted for. So now we are requesting that they come through this process. And Ellsworth has really high ridership numbers. I don't have I was looking for the report, but I don't have it up right now. But for $2,500 to receive this service in our city, it's knowing what other municipalities have to pay for similar type services in other regions, it's a pretty good deal.
What kind of ride services do they provide?
They have a fixed route service, Ellsworth to Bangor, Ellsworth to Bar Harbor. They also have a fixed route service within town on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I believe, for goods and services to like the grocery store, Walmart, things like that.
Do they have consistent pickup, drop-off spots? And- Okay, great.
As someone who rode them for 2 years, I will testify that, and this is how many Jack's employees, regardless of whether or not they have a car or not, get to Jack's. You actually get to sleep for a bit. But yeah, it's nice, regular, and I still use it when I need to go to Bar Harbor as well. And there's either no transit available, or there's or if there's some change where, oh, okay, I have a backup, I can just go with that. So it's
Great.
incredibly valuable.
Great. Councilor Smith?
I want to use this as an opportunity to make a request that as a board member, if you can bring forward as we're supporting this, if there's more that can be done to market the fixed route within Ellsworth. I've heard it exists. I see the bus. There's so much that can be done, as you know, to make it more accessible, easier to understand, the timing, the location, am I allowed on this bus, all of that kind of thing. That I love that it exists, but it still seems like it's quite a confusing process for residents of Ellsworth to be able to use it.
Yeah, Hancock County Planning just received a Northern Borders grant to do just that, so.
Thank you.
They are working on that as well, and I would note that our Thriving Communities grant also, Twyla, I connected Twyla with Paul, the Executive Director of Down East Transportation, to do a presentation at the annual meeting on our Thriving Communities grant, because transportation and transit is part of that.
Right.
So I think you will see some changes with the marketing, signage, things like that, with that fixed route portion of the bus.
Thank you, appreciate that.
But I'm happy to do more of an update and a workshop after budget's done.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Next up is Sweetser. Do we have Sweetser here? Nope, that's good, because they requested 2,500 and we said 0, so glad we'll just move forward. What's that? There were 9 emails worth. Yeah, I think that was the Hospice Volunteers of Hancock County. Is anybody from, there we go.
Hi, my name is Kathy Belargent. I'm the Executive Director for Hospice Volunteers of Hancock County. We are asking for $2,000, which is the same as we asked for last year. In 2025, we served 88 patients in Hancock County, and 12 of those were in Ellsworth. We served 42 bereavement clients, and 7 were in Ellsworth. We had 362 individuals that came in for equipment, medical equipment. 96 of those people came in more than one time, and 90 of those individuals were from Ellsworth. We had 91 individuals that received education throughout the year. I don't know how many in Ellsworth, I didn't get that information. We have 82 volunteers, and 4 do live in Ellsworth. We have expanded our services, so we've been around since 1980, serving hospice patients that are on medical hospice. And over the last few years, we increased our services for those that are on palliative care, which means they have a serious illness, but they don't yet qualify for medical hospice. Maybe because of their illness, but also mentally they might not be ready. So what we're finding is that we're able to serve those people earlier, and then our volunteers are really well trained, and they can look for signs of decline and help that person to get on medical hospice sooner than later, which is a huge advantage to individuals. But most recently, one of our medical palliative care programs has shifted. So MDI has a very strong palliative care program where staff goes in, but for all the other areas covered, Ellsworth being one of them, the palliative care, the closest palliative care that somebody can get is in Brewer, and that is typically for patients that have cancer, because it's through their cancer center. So we had a lot of patients that were dropped from palliative care, but we were able to go in with them. So we shifted once again to try to meet the need. So we are going to be doing a lot of education this year with our physician practices, with the community, trying to get community referrals, so that if someone is seeing, they have a life-limiting illness and they've had some decline, that we'll take them onto our services. So we know they no longer have to be on a medical palliative or medical hospice program. So we're seeing our numbers grow, especially since increasing into palliative care, and I think we'll see the same thing happening here. The other thing that we offer is bereavement support, and so that is individual support and also grief groups throughout Hancock County. Most of them happen here in Ellsworth, but we've expanded to Blue Hill and MDI. We offer Reiki, we have life stories, we have pet therapy, vigil. So we're offering a lot of value-added programs to the people that we're serving. And what we find that if somebody is even, a lot of the needs that we have are for respite when it comes to patients, because people have been taking care of their loved ones for a long time with a serious illness. And sometimes just being able to get out for a couple of hours is really helpful, but we found that we need to match more than one volunteer in a lot of cases now, because patients have more needs and there's less resources. So even if someone has the ability to pay for respite services, there's not staff available for that. So there's real shortage, and then we have many people that could never afford it anyway. So those are the people that we're serving. All of our funding comes from our donors through appeals. Our town appeal, we do ask from everyone. We have some little towns that don't give to us, but the majority of towns do. So, and then we have grants that we write. Those are hard to get. It's getting more and more challenging for sure. So, and then our events. So we have a couple of big fundraising events that we do. Oh, and I mentioned medical equipment loan program. I think I got it all.
That's a lot.
Questions?
Any questions from council? No,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Great. We'll go to the SPCA of Hancock County. Are they here with us? So, I know this was discussed last year. There was a request for 2,500, and the subcommittee approved for 2,500.
There's one of the memos in the updated packet. Any councilors, any discussion or questions on SPCA?
I have
Councilor
a
Smith?
related question for Charlie. I recall that the vet that was doing the, used to be called the pound, but where,
Animal control.
thank you,
Yep.
where animal control would drop animals. Did that get settled? Did SPCA, were they approached? Because that vet was no longer able to do it?
I do not know offhand, but let's put it in the log, and we'll follow up with Andrew. I know is being certified as the new animal control officer, and I
Great.
can touch base with him on that.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And looking at the memo, because just looking at the value of, there were 30 cats and 8 dogs surrendered from residents of the town of Ellsworth last year. I think that says a lot about the situation a lot of families find themselves in. This normally isn't a light decision that people make. So I think that was worth highlighting while we're going through all these papers.
Thank you. Anything else further from council on SPCA?
We'll go to the Eastern Area Agency on Aging. Do we have to? Great.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting us here to present in front of you. My name is Christopher Hill. I'm the Communications and Development Director for Eastern Area Agency on Aging. Our nonprofit serves Penobscot, Piscataquis, Washington, and of course Hancock County, serving a variety of needs for our older community members, things like nutrition programs, like most notably Meals on Wheels, supplemental food programs like the commodity supplemental food boxes, supplemental pet food, so I definitely resonate with the SPCA conversation that was just had. We have Medicare counseling, caregiver services. Probably most importantly, we offer information and assistance. So any Ellsworth resident who has any questions, regardless of the topic, they can call us. We have resource specialists who can talk them through whatever those resources are. If it's a program that we have, we connect them with our resources. Otherwise, we connect them with other nonprofits that are doing similar or work that pertains to that topic. I just want to touch on the work that was done in Ellsworth last year. We served 219 Ellsworth residents, most notably with home-delivered meals. We served over 4,000 home-delivered meals, Meals on Wheels. We had over 350 commodity supplemental food boxes that were delivered. Pet Furry Friends, we had over 3,400 supplemental pet food kits to help our older community members keep their pets at home with the rising cost of pet food. We saved Ellsworth residents over $67,000 in Medicare savings for a total of $151,702 of value provided to the town. Most of the programs that we offer are free or low cost to no cost, so we try to keep those costs down for our community members that are on fixed incomes. Exciting news, or I consider it exciting. We are going to be opening up an access center here in Ellsworth starting in May. We're going to be partnering with the Betsy Wright Cancer Facility, where we're going to be having more boots on the ground here in Ellsworth, office hours, which will have will house our Meals on Wheels. We'll have congregate dining. We'll have the resource specialists on hand, so consumers can come and talk to somebody instead of having to phone in. So our goal is really to be more embedded in the communities that we serve. So we're excited to partner with other Ellsworth organizations so we can continue to expand services. And so I appreciate the Ellsworth's continued support, and we ask for $1,500. And I'll open up to any questions.
Is that the cancer center, is that at the hospital? Is that, or where physically located?
The Betsy Wright facility?
Yeah, where,
I'm not familiar with the address. Heather, do you know the address?
Wallace 10.
Wallace 10, okay, great.
Sorry, I've been there a couple of times, but I don't remember the address.
I live here, I didn't know.
I was hoping if I said Betsy Wright that would cover it, but no, it's good.
Great.
Well, gratitude that you don't know where the cancer center is.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, no, thank you. Any other questions from council? Great, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
That was approved at that last year's funding amount, so no change there. We'll go to, always a favorite, Down East Wood Bank.
Hello again. I think this is the fourth year that I've been here to speak with you. My name is Tom Matthews. I'm volunteer and president of the board. If you don't know what the Down East Wood Bank does, we provide firewood for people who are cold. This has been a very challenging year for us. Last year, I think the blurb I gave you is incorrect with the number because it's grown since then, but last winter of 24-25, we served a total of 81 families from Ellsworth. So far, and we're not finished with this winter, we've served 170 families. So we've more than doubled the number of people knocking on a door needing to be warm. Warmth means a lot of different things to different people, but approximately 20% of the area, and this is something I didn't know until I got into this, was probably 20% of families heat by wood alone still. You know, most of us consider heat being the mini split in our home or the boiler in the basement or whatever, but a lot of families just rely on wood. This year's been really challenging for families because it's been really cold. It's not only been cold for a long period of time, it was cold beginning of December, and it's not quite as cold now, but we've still got winter to go. So the numbers have doubled because of those reasons and other financial reasons in the community that are more political in nature maybe, but it's affected the families as a whole, and we're there to help them. We give up to half a quart of seasoned firewood per visit. They call us and set up an appointment. We're there on Saturday mornings. We fill their Subarus, pickup trucks, whatever they are driving with wood, and they can come once a month. We give them up to half a quart, like I said, once a month. And most families just need something to get them through a short period of time. Some families need to come back more frequently, and we're there for them. We're all volunteers. No pay goes to any of us for any reason. Everything goes into firewood production, which means we purchase logs. That's what the money that we're asking from Ellsworth will go towards is logs. We can buy a truckload of logs, which comes to about 8 quart of wood split for about half the price of what you would purchase it yourself from the local firewood guy distributor. We work closely with a lot of firewood guys. If we had a gentleman donate a truckload to us the other day of logs that he couldn't process in his processor. So he donated a truckload to us, and he sold us 2 more at a big discount. So we work closely with foresters and firewood retailers in the area to make it work for our families. We appreciate what Ellsworth has done, not just monetarily in the last several years, but you've also given us trees. Where you're building the new courthouse out on wherever that is, I don't recall the address, but some of those trees are going back to Ellsworth families for heat. Not this year because they didn't season yet, but next winter, those trees will be heating homes of Ellsworth residents, and so we appreciate that. We just happened to be there one day working, and a gentleman drove up in a truck and said, "I'm from Ellsworth, here's some wood," and that was great. And they've come one more time since then, and if you have more wood, let us know. We'll take it. So that's kind of what we do in a nutshell. We're asking for $1,250. There's no formula for that. I don't know where that number came from. It was what kind of happened over the years, so we stuck with it. If you want to give us a raise, we'll take it, but we're asking for $1,250 again, and we appreciate your assistance.
Thank you very much.
Well, the committee did argue for a raise on this one to 1,500. So I don't know if it's your excellent presentations or just the great need that's here for this, but.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, tell them what's in the budget.
1,500 over the 1,250, so. The
Thank you very
1,250
much.
was the recommendation, but the subcommittee thought this was a really important one, and put 1,500 over there. And we'll keep in mind for any kind of, the Arbor Commission too, and our forestry projects.
Yep.
And, I know we're
We're
thinking about
big
our.
proponents of keeping the emerald ash borer at bay, where, I guess she left, I don't see her, but, yeah.
There's a few, and I know we have the forestry plan for our different assets that the city owns and Branch Lake Public Forests, but also Simmons Pond.
Yep.
And, we've been thinking about some of that to get some revenue for the city, but also maybe considered some of that for, when it needs to be logged to get it to the down east or to the.
The only thing I would ask is that you call us ahead of time and don't just show up, because we might not be there.
Okay, we'll try to.
We just happen to be that day.
Any further questions for the woodman? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Great, we'll go to the Heart of Ellsworth next.
So we have a deck, but I think I'll just do backup handout, so. Both ways. All right, one sec.
Oh, sorry, I'm just holding them all.
Hello, my name is Eric Marichal. I'm the current treasurer and board member of Heart of Ellsworth. And I'm not here to talk too much about what our organization does, since I believe Carr and our board do a great job engaging with city staff, city council, and we've sent a lot of information in advance. Instead, I'd like to present some data we've gathered after being a Main Street community for our first full year, and how we kind of stack up against some of our peer towns and cities. if you want to flip to the first page there, I guess, yes. First, I want to briefly cover our value to the community and return on investment from our city partnership. I think whenever we're asking, for taxpayers to invest in something, it's important to look at this. So as I just mentioned, we're Ellsworth's accredited Main Street America organization, or one of 11 in the state of Maine, and we focus on economic development, placemaking, and downtown revitalization. We're coming up on our 10-year anniversary as an organization, and during this time, we've given back over $1.1 million back into the community. This is through grant funding, sponsorships, and donations. A downtown vacancy during this period has gone from a low of 50% to only 7% vacant now, and 623,000 of that 1.1 million that we discussed is in direct grant funding to Heart Ellsworth. Just in the last year, which I believe reflects a more collaborative relationship with the city, we've hosted 28 programs and events, contributed close to 7,000 labor hours, which is the equivalent of 3 full-time employees, and brought in almost $400,000 in grants. We form our strategic planning around the city's comprehensive and business attraction plans and have the common goal to be a vibrant regional center. Our return on investment is $20 for every dollar spent by the city over the past decade, and that number is arrived at by dividing our previous city appropriations into that 1.1 million. If you flip to the next page there, so on that first slide or paper, before we really start looking at the numbers on there, I want to focus on the list of towns and cities. So obviously those are all the other Main Street communities in Maine, but just like Ellsworth, all of those are Tier 1 or Tier 2 regional service centers. But they're also a list of downtowns that are vibrant and really seen a resurgence in the past decade or so. And I think that's really what the Main Street community model does. So whether it's Skowhegan, Belfast or Brunswick, if you visit those cities, I think you're really seeing a big change in the last decade or two. When looking at the actual numbers on that page, what you're looking at is the dollar amount of municipal funding for their equivalent Main Street organizations. You can see Ellsworth is on the bottom of this list. But as someone who works with data for a living, I would say yes, but Brunswick and Biddeford are larger cities. So that is true, which is why if you flip to the next page, we also broke down municipal investment per resident. And so that's where you can see that Ellsworth does slightly better, but still in the 30th percentile of that list of communities. And finally, on the next page there, this is the municipal funding as a percentage of the organizational budget. And you can see again, Ellsworth is at the bottom of that list, which is tied with Skowhegan at 6% there. And on this, the next page is basically a table that kind of brings all the information together. And in addition to the information we just covered, you can see all the way on the right that 6 of those municipalities are they're funding their Main Street organizations through TIF funding. This is one of the kind of future recommendations that we've engaged in the city about. There's definitely precedent for that. And also the very bottom in that red box, you see the average percentage of municipal funding is approximately 30%. And that really falls in line with the Main Street America model, which is a third of the organization's funding coming from municipalities. So usually it's a third grants, a third municipality, and a third like fundraising. Is that correct? Okay, thank you. So to conclude, Heart of Ellsworth currently works closely with the city to be an implementation partner in several areas. We have the marketing, organizational, and volunteer resources to work quickly and get things done. But we've also seen that the current level of support is on the low end when compared to peer communities across the state. So we're asking to work towards an increase to help stabilize our organization to guarantee continued success in the future.
I would note that this recommendation from the subcommittee was to level fund at the previous year of $25,000. I've been thinking about this, especially with this data when you see, I mean, there's unquestionably, we are underinvesting in comparison to other cities and towns in our Main Street downtown organization. Also upon application now of the downtown TIF district, will open us up for, in our current TIF district, there's a category that mentions that upon the establishment of a downtown TIF district, that up to $100,000 allows it to be ported or portaged over to the downtown spending. So we do have unallocated TIF from going into this next budget cycle. I think once we get to the economic development budget and TIF at the end of the year, when we talk about, or at the end of this budget cycle, that part of the nice things about TIF funding as opposed to the others, due to the tax shift implications we talked about previously, is it's essentially, you get 59 cents on the dollar. So I kind of use that as a metric for, while not fully funding this request, the 59 cents on the dollar kind of metric using TIF funding should that downtown district be approved, bringing this up to 42,000 from the 25,000. Sorry, I had my calculator out. Now it won't open up. But I think it was, 42,000 is what I could see bringing this up to, and then using TIF funding for that. So that's kind of where I'm at.
That's something we address this budget cycle.
Yep.
When we get to that.
When we get to that part of it, yep.
Great.
And if I could just add to it, I'd say one of our biggest gaps as an organization is the lack of, I guess, consistent funding. So I know a lot of other people rely on grant funding as well, which has become more and more of a problem. As a downtown organization, we don't we don't have membership fees, we don't charge membership fees. We do a lot of events, but there's not really a way to generate revenue off of those. So we rely really heavily on grant funding, which last year was a lot. This year, we just don't know. So it's really hard to budget, operate a organization with a full-time employees without that consistent funding. So that's what we're looking for, hopefully in the future with a partnership with the city. So.
It also notes, what the part Ellsworth, our teams are constantly coordinating with them on a variety of projects with a one-person economic development team. That's oftentimes we get stretched capacity-wise, and the first call is to Cara and their board and for help on things, including the downtown TIF districts, and they're always extremely responsive and helpful. And just today, we've dealing with a homelessness issue that's causing some community concern in one of our parks here, and are considering some changes to how that park is structured. And my first call is Art Ellsworth, who helps manage that park and keep it together. And how can they help us on that piece? It's just today, and that happens every couple weeks. So definitely think this organization needs a little more investment in it, even though it's a tough budget year. But I feel like with that TIF funding, that could be this cycle, if it gets approved this cycle. But because of the TIF, the undesignated fund balance, we could also in next cycle, if it's approved in July, revisit this from undesignated TIF reserves to apply it then. So we can revisit a couple times here.
Any questions for Heart of Ellsworth from council? Great. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Cara. We have Roddy, if you may approach, if you would please.
Hi, Roddy Erlenbach, Parks and Rec Director. I just wanted to speak on behalf of Heart of Ellsworth very quickly. A couple of folks in city staff and myself have been researching several grants to fund some possible upcoming opportunities we'd like to take advantage of. And in just the last week, just kind of perusing some of those applications, the question was asked, are you a accredited Main Street America city? And that elevates your application quite a bit. And that we wouldn't be able to check that box yes if it wasn't for the work that Heart of Ellsworth has done over the past several years.
Thanks, Roddy.
Up next, Chamber of Commerce.
Good evening, counselors. Thank you. I'm the new executive director at the Ellsworth Area Chamber. Thank you for considering the allocation of funds for the chamber. As you know, we are a key liaison between the city and businesses, nonprofits, residents, and we provide a unique and essential service that directly supports Ellsworth's economic vitality through tourism promotion, business advocacy, workforce development, and community event management. We operate the visitor center located on High Street, which tends to be the first point of contact for people coming in, individuals considering relocation, looking for jobs, prospective business, and even housing. We've had a few people come in who work here 3 or 4 days a week that are looking for housing, someone that would house them for that amount of time. So it's unique, and then we try to establish and build out relationships and make connections so that we can keep them working in Ellsworth and eventually get them down here full time. This year, we are expanding our impact through several initiatives. We have the Chamber Presents, which is our new monthly educational series, and it's focused on practical business development topics. So many of Ellsworth's small businesses don't have their own HR department, and we provide access to essential training and resources. I'll put a plug in. Our April event is the State of the City. It's 8 o'clock at the Moore Center, April 3rd, Friday at 8 a.m. And it'll be the city leadership talking about where we're at, the state of the city. So I would encourage all of you to attend, and it's in the theater at the Moore Center. We also promote major community initiatives. The Autumn Gold Festival. We're really excited about the Autumn Gold Festival this year because we're partnering with, as they mentioned, Mark and Peter, on a mystery dinner theater that night to kind of kick off the whole program. So we're looking to just find new ways to just keep the Autumn Gold Festival relevant and moving forward. Leadership Hancock County, we just met at HCTC today, and we had a great lunch. If you've never been there for lunch, I encourage you to go. Those kids are great. And of course, our business after hours. You know, these programs bring us together. They're not only vibrant and engaging, but they also generate a lot of economic activity for our local businesses. In addition, I have the opportunity to serve and work with the city on the Wayfinding Signage Committee with Twyla and building relationships with her. I'm relatively new. She's been here a little bit longer than I have. So I'm looking forward to finding and building relationships to work and seeing what those final sign designs look like. Our goal at the Ellsworth Chamber is simple, moving forward, to ensure that Ellsworth businesses grow, remain competitive, and continue to thrive. That's what we're here for. When our businesses succeed, our workforce strengthens, and our entire community benefits. So we respectfully request the continued funding to maintain these services. Thank you for your time and continued partnership and your thoughtful consideration. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from council for Heather?
We'll see you April
Nailed it.
3rd.
No questions.
Thank you so much for making my first introduction to the council. Whew.
Thank you.
I feel like we should ask her a question.
I know. I got your number, Nancy.
That's great, thank you.
Garden Club. Do you want to just voice it out to the council? Yeah. We don't have Garden Club here. They're good.
I don't know if they're.
Garden Club here?
They did present.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Ellsworth Garden Club?
Okay.
So, before they speak, they are not in the budget. I did notice that today. So that is one that's gonna have to be updated. There's a line, so that will be on the change log because they are not in this budget presentation. It's one that we've moved over from another department into this department, which was miscellaneous, the miscellaneous budget. So that's the disconnect in there. So it will be brought in, at the end of this.
Thank you. Bob Hepler, President of the Ellsworth Garden Club. To condense what the Garden Club does to a single paragraph, we are a working club. Every week from April through September, you'll find at least a dozen of our members in one of the 8 gardens open to the public. We'll be weeding, watering, and whatever. Of the 8 gardens, 4 are on city property. 3 are either at the middle school or on the grounds of a local nonprofit. And then the club owns Donald Little Park up here on State Street. We do it because we enjoy gardening, but we would like to think that we bring some value to the city in terms of the appearance of the city, especially to visitors. As a measure of the value we bring, about 3 years ago, we decided to contract out the mowing for Donald Little Park, and that was $3,000 just for mow the grass. Didn't do anything for the gardens, and we did that for 1 year, and we're back to volunteer labor again. Our request, for the last 2 years, the council has given us $7,600. We asked for a little bit less this year because we have had some gifts in memory of some longtime garden club supporters, and we felt like our request should reflect the fact that we have had a little extra funding this year. 80% of all the money we bring in goes directly into the gardens. We have very little administrative costs. I like to say we're a working club. We are not a social garden club. Some garden clubs meet once a month and talk about garden, but that's not us. So, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
I really do enjoy Donald Little Park. He was a very good friend of my father's. And thank you for doing that and taking care of that park.
Well, we appreciate it, and we do have a lot of people stop when we're out there working to tell us the same thing, so.
Yeah, you guys are all over the place and.
In a good way.
In a good way. Yeah, and so you guys do that elementary, middle school garden as well?
Well, the garden club maintains the flower garden at the entrance.
Okay.
But we also help them with their vegetable gardens and whatever else they've got in mind, I guess fruit trees this year. We do support a lot with labor and some financial support for materials and whatever, other nonprofits that ask us for help to the extent that we can muster the volunteers.
And they were in favor of the request. I'd also note, I know upon arrival, one of the things that was kind of sad to me in the city was just the condition of our parks, and Knowlton Park and some other. But then you also have these weird kind of, where there's be these little oases of really well-maintained areas. So you just see huge swaths of just, clearly unmaintained for years, including the front of City Hall, which was just wildly overgrown. And then all of a sudden, you'd say, and I was like, who's doing all this stuff? And it was the garden club. And I know Roddy and his team have done a big improvement, but that matched with the stuff you're doing, I know that's, as Roddy calls it, reconomics. It's the kind of thing for keeping care of, your city and making it, your parks a nice place to be in, really encourages people to want to not just drive through here on the way to Acadia, but to live here and raise a family and start a business. And we've seen a lot of that lately and want to continue that going. So thank you for all the work you do.
Yes, thank you very much.
And, sorry, we had one last one here. The Snowmobile Club. Are they in attendance? Great, of course.
Good evening. My name is Bill Clark. I'm president of the Ellsworth Snowmobile Club. We're a group of local residents and whatnot, and our mission is to create and maintain trails for the snowmobiling public. The biggest contribution we make to this community, whatnot, is the first 20 miles of the Down East Sunrise Trail. That encourages snowmobilers from down east to come into Ellsworth to get gas, food, And if we didn't do that, the closest club is Cherryfield, and they wouldn't be able to come all the way to Ellsworth. So we're really performing a very important part of our snowmobile trail system. We do have other trails, in-town trails, that we maintain for the, and many of the local snowmobilers know where those are. We have a very small budget. Our funding is, a lot of times, it's dependent upon the weather, and as you know, Ellsworth can't depend upon having snow every year. And the contribution made by the city is very much appreciated and very, very necessary. Thank you.
Questions, Councilor Smith?
Yes, I think to strengthen this ask, doesn't this come from snowmobile registration fees that come through the city with the intention that they go to the clubs for maintenance?
Yeah, I guess that's a question for you, Charlie.
Yeah, yes.
Oh,
The
somebody.
answer is
And
yes.
that-
This is
Did I
the,
see that, how does that number compare to the $1,000? Is it higher?
So last year, I believe we haven't gotten in this year's reimbursement from the state yet. Last year, I believe it was $1,200. So that's where that number is coming from, because
Yeah, you can't predict. I bet this year will be good and strong with all the snow we've had.
yeah, I'm hoping. And if it does, then this number will reflect that, because it is the reimbursement that we get from the state.
Okay, so it will match the reimbursement from
It
the,
typically does, yes.
yeah. So this is basically a pass-through of the registration fees from the state
Yep.
through the city to the club to do the maintenance, which inspires the registrations.
Yes, yep.
Okay. So it's free to the city.
Yes. We just haven't got the reimbursement yet, so
Right.
we don't know what that is yet.
Okay, thank you.
And you've done a great job. I've seen you out there plenty of times.
We groomed the Down East Trail 28 times in 7 weeks, which is
Yeah.
about 4 times a week we're grooming. It takes 5 to 6 hours a night to do that. We have to do it at nighttime because you want the sleds off the trail so that the groomed trail can set up and harden for the next day riders. So a lot of those nights, we're not getting in till midnight, 1 o'clock. And this is all volunteer labor.
Pat,
Good
you
year.
remember?
Hmm?
You remember?
No, I just ride.
You benefit.
I register my sled, and whenever I go someplace, I contribute rather liberally to the groomers funds. So, but when I'm out riding also, if I see something that's in the trail, a down limb or something, I take care of it. And that helps out all the clubs in the state. Instead of just riding and then complaining about it, I figure I'm right there, I might as well take care of it. So,
Great. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
thank you.
well, I think that concludes for this evening. Next up is going to be the schools coming back for their second presentation. I know we had their initial presentation. So next Thursday, April 2nd, we'll have the joint city council and school board workshop on the school's second presentation on their school budget, where they're coming in at. So we look forward to that. That is the largest expense in the city, so that's we'll set aside some good time for that. And as we talked about before, a lot of these ones with the school are really the most important in terms of the deadlines because of the referendum on the school budget, which the city budget doesn't have. So this will be an important one. After that, the following Thursday, then we'll start getting more into the city departments and the details there. Also, just a huge thanks to Ashley, who you can tell is knowledgeable about every tiny thing in here and can remember that the snowmobile stuff hasn't come in because she was here last year and knows when these things come in, and the importance of having great people. And then Nate, who's, in addition to broadcasting this online, he did the 1,400 plus formulas on this budget 2 years ago. This year, he probably had 300-400 that we had to have amended to start working, consolidating the Parks and Recreation and Facilities departments. And the teams are doing it all without a finance director this time around. So we were down one, but it's such a great team that works on these things and then does all the other stuff in their day job too. So big thanks to the team for getting all this together and keeping on track with our timelines here. So thank you so much.
What's that?
Doing.
Yeah, I'm good.
Don't. You wanna look at some
No,
more?
it's good.
Okay, I'm a team player, okay?
Do you need a motion to adjourn, or we just,
I don't,
we just wander away?
I think we can just wander away.
Okay, I can wander away.